This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All righty, there he is, the man, the myth, the legend. That is Cameron Wolfe. How you feeling, my man?
I'm all right. I'm feeling good. How are you? Where are you at today? Looks like you got your own
We are at Canes. We are at Canesware in Davie here, having some fun. We come out here about once a month or once every 2 months and do a show. And obviously, great sponsors of ours. So we're out here, and the good thing is, Cam, we didn't even have to bring a fan today, which is awesome, because usually when we do outside shows, we have some fans blowing and all that. But
it's a nice 50-something degree day out there. It's our winter. Winter. Oh, this Sunday was not our winter. Sunday was in the 40s. It was a little colder than our winter, but this 50s. This is our week of winter.
Yeah, this Sunday was hell, is what it was. Unfortunately, with the whole Tua thing. Yeah. Well, 4 excellent quarters against the Bills, 2 excellent quarters this week, and then you had the final 2 quarters, and we were all wondering what the hell went on. Well, now you know. He played in a haze, and obviously not a good thing to play in a concussion haze. And let me tell you, Cam, Sean and I were talking about it. Sean was a wrestler. He had a concussion, and he talked about how things were like really slow for him. And I had a concussion. I had a grade 2, and I was, in a haze for a couple days, and I can't imagine what it's like to get concussed and then play in that second half. And it's just, I don't know. We're in a bad place right now, unfortunately, with Tua. If you're the Miami Dolphins and you're the fan base right now because of those health issues.
Yeah, first thing I saw when I heard McDaniel mention that he's back in the protocol was I was just bummed. Not as much for the Dolphins, just for Tua, because it's been a rough year for him with the health portion of it, with the concussions. And so regardless of how he's playing on the field, I was hoping that he would be able to get past that and get through the season. And you just worry for his health, his long-term health. He's got a wife, he's got a kid. These things are serious. Like a lot of times we minimize it by putting it in a football frame of like, how many games should he miss? He should miss the rest of the season. The Dolphins are wrong. We're ready to blame everyone and talk football. And it's like, this dude got another potential brain injury. Like, that should be the focus. And so that was my first reaction. I don't know if it was that hit. I think a lot of people think it was that hit because that's the only one we saw where him hit his head, but we don't know for sure. I just remember when I saw him hit his head, that play. I remember that play because I turned to my producer and was like, I don't know what it is, but every time I see Tua get hit or hit himself, I cringe and I worry and I wait to see when he gets up. And that play, the one that the fan kind of tweeted out and went crazy, he got up immediately. There was no signs of ataxia or gross motor instability that we've learned so much about over the last few months, given the earlier situation. And so it makes me wonder just how many of those situations happen in the league that we don't know about.
For sure.
The concussions that pop up later. Like Tua did a great job of telling them, hey, I've got a headache. How many players just say, I'm gonna just tough it out, I'm gonna just tough it out. I'm not gonna say anything.
Well, he also probably, it's the next day, and then he realizes how he played in that second half, and he's like, okay, there's something wrong with me, and so now at least the while he might be having that warrior mentality, he also now thought as a team guy, and he said, well, wait a minute, dude. I'm messed up and I screwed up for my team and I'm not helping my team this way. And so that's why I'm sure, had to report it, because 1, he has to protect himself. And then 2, he has to also understand he's not doing his team any service if he's out there woozy like that, man. And it's just bad. And now how do you handle all of this, Cam?
Yeah, I mean, I think
for the Dolphins, it's the optics. If you're Tua, it's your health, your future. Look, man, there's several players in the NFL that have had multiple concussions. Kenny Pickett's already had 2 concussions, and he's a rookie. This year, he's had 2 concussions he's come back from. So the difference is Tua's more of a lightning bolt, and it's happened on national television and the bent fingers and all that stuff. So the optics are going to be a little different. but it's just a really difficult situation, from optics to health to the reality of how you handle this. And to point fingers is wrong, because nobody knew it was going on and he didn't really show any signs. And that's just, sometimes that's the way this game is played. It's guys
Yeah,
are tough, and
yeah,
sometimes they just shake stuff off and they continue,
absolutely,
man.
absolutely. And obviously, we don't know everything here, but it sounds like this one is no one to blame. Like the spotters didn't see it, the coaches didn't see it, Tua didn't say anything. And to be frank, like it may not all be on Tua. Tua might not have felt anything. Like
Right.
the reality of concussions are that you get delayed symptoms sometimes, and maybe he did not feel anything per se until the next day. And so a lot of this is football, but the thing that makes it a little bit more gravely serious is because Tua's had this situation in a very public, very scary situation earlier this year in Cincinnati. And if you want to look further, 4 days earlier in Buffalo. And so it's like,
right,
you got a 3-month period where you've got 3 incidents. If this one's confirmed, 2 diagnosed concussions, and you start to wonder about a guy's long-term health. And, it becomes more than just, is he going to play against the Patriots or the Jets? Is this guy going to still be your quarterback in 10 years? Is he going to be good to be able to do everything he wants to live for a long life for the next 70 years? Like, these are things that become more worrisome, and they know this by signing up for football, but it becomes a little bit more in your face when we see it at that prime position in so short time span. And so I'd imagine that this week, and really the rest of the season, they're super cautious with Tua, especially if this is diagnosed as a concussion. I'd imagine you won't see him next week. I mean, you won't see him this week, and then, we'll see beyond that. But
isn't it already a concussion once you're in protocol? Isn't it already?
No. So the way protocol works is you can be in protocol and never be diagnosed with a concussion. So, for example, Teddy Bridgewater, with that incident we all know earlier this year, he was in the concussion protocol. The team remained adamant that he never had a concussion, and he was in the protocol until he fully cleared. Same thing for Tua. He had to clear before he got cleared out of protocol. And so protocol does not necessarily mean, like, you can be cleared from a concussion and still be in protocol. And so he has not technically been diagnosed with a concussion yet. I'm not sure if that has happened in the last 24 hours or will happen. But once that's officially happened, then it becomes a lot more difficult for him to clear the protocol and play this week. If for whatever reason the headaches are just a random headache, which I think is very unlikely, but if that's the case, then he can technically still process through the steps and try to clear and technically play this week or next week without being diagnosed with a concussion, if that makes sense.
No, it makes all the sense in the world.
So just briefly, the way the protocol works, if you either self-admit or seen with any symptoms that are related to a concussion, you're automatically put in the protocol. So a headache, even if it's like, hey, my head hurts because I didn't sleep much last night, that's still a symptom of a concussion. And so you're put in the protocol. So that necessarily, like, we obviously think they are related to that hit, but there's possible that, hey, a guy just says, hey, I'm not feeling great today, my head's bothering me. And because of that admission, you're put in the protocol.
Yeah. All right. So, and now it's Teddy Bridgewater's show from here on out. I would imagine, at least for this week, I just can't see them bringing Tua back this week.
No,
I really can't.
Yeah, I can't see it either. I mean, like I said, he can't fully rule it out, but I couldn't see, that would shock me. Just given what's happened this season with Tua, and also the fact that he has admitted symptoms. Like, it's different if a doctor says, hey, I saw you fall, and you're saying I'm perfectly fine, versus a guy saying I'm not feeling good, and so I'm telling you that. So yeah, I would be shocked if he came back this week, and next week may even be a stretch too. So I think you have to prepare as if Teddy's going to be leading you to the playoffs or not the playoffs over these next 2 weeks. And, it's going to be an interesting period. Like, McDaniel was very adamant, this is why you signed Bridgewater. I know fans have different perspectives given how Teddy has played at times this year. But I will say that the only game Teddy started this year was that Jets game, and he ended up getting pulled in the second play of the game when they saw him fall. That was the saw him fall game, right? And so this week would be the only week he's had where he's got a full week of prep as a starter and started a game as a quarterback. And so maybe this will be our best view of where Teddy is as a starter, maybe then coming off the bench or, whatever it was over the last 2-3 games he had played.
More importantly, I think this is actually a really good test for Mike McDaniel.
Yeah,
because he and his staff did not pass the test in the 3 games without Tua that they couldn't win. I'd like to see what they can do in the next 2 weeks and see if they can try to pull out a victory or two here and show me some coaching and try to get over the hump. Because in the end, as much as I like Chris Greer and as much as I like what he's done, I like this roster a lot. It's had a lot of injuries, and unfortunately now you start to look at it and you worry for Greer now because you didn't hit it with your coach. If this quarterback is not a pick and McDaniel doesn't end strong, it doesn't end up looking good for Chris Greer, unfortunately, when it's all said and done, because there's a lot of good picks, there's a lot of good things going on, and unfortunately you had a lot of injuries. But, dude, if you missed on the quarterback, that's going to fall pretty bad on the front office, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's an odd period because a month ago we were talking about Tua with MVP race, and now we're talking about, are we sure that he's the guy here? And so it's a sign of how quickly football can change. And the big thing revolving around Tua was always the health. And it was different reasons with the health. It was the hip. It was, is he too small?
Just durability overall, period. Just durability overall. That was always my only concern with the kid was always durability. I never wavered on his play. I know he can be an elite quarterback at this level. I have no qualms with that.
Right.
I know he can do that. It's just a matter of can he stay upright, unfortunately. And by the way, again, 4.81 seconds on that play.
Yeah. Yeah, holding on to the ball. And he had been really good throwing the ball quickly for most of the game and most of the season. But it's always a few plays where, maybe he's trying to be Superman a little bit too much. And I don't know what it is. It seems like he falls an odd way every time where he's making some contact or making a twist.
Well, if you look at that one,
he
either has a choice to land on his left shoulder or turn and land on his back. And so he's kind of going with the momentum to land on his back. Right. And then his head gets rattled back because I'm sure he didn't want to land on his left shoulder because obviously he's a left-handed throwing quarterback.
Right.
So that would be devastating to him. And it's just like guys would rather take a hit up here than in the knees.
Right. Right.
The rest of us to say, dude, why do you want to get a shot in the? Well, because my knee can repair my, I can't repair my knee. It'll take a year. My head, you know what? I'll shake it off in a week or two and I can get back on the field. That's what they'll tell you.
Yeah. Yeah. So the reality is Tua, one, he's got to get healthy. But the second part, he's got to stay healthy for this team to commit to him to being the franchise quarterback. And some of these things are out of his control, but some of the things are, maybe I've got to be more cognizant of how long I'm holding the ball, how I'm taking hits, how I'm falling, how I'm turning my body. These are things that you can prolong your longevity. And so I think, we're too early to talk about offseason talk about what the Dolphins have to do as far as, protecting themselves at the quarterback position. Right now, I think they just have to figure out a way to get to the playoffs because the questions become a lot louder and a lot more serious if you blow this 8-3 record and end up missing the playoffs with this talent. This team is too talented to miss the playoffs. You can't have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and all this firepower and miss the playoffs. There's going to be a lot of questions to be answered, and a lot of people won't be here next year because of that if they miss the playoffs. And so, that's just the reality of the situation.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's one of those where, unfortunately, now there's this Tua thing puts a lot of people in a bad light. And I would imagine that Chris Greer is one of them that unfortunately cannot be feeling really good right now with the whole Tua situation, because obviously that's the linchpin pick that you needed in order to turn the franchise around, because that's been the problem with this team for 25 years. Yeah. You've had all kinds of good players at skill positions, on defense and all that, but you can't find the franchise guy to put you over the top. And Tua is that guy, but he can't stay healthy, and that's That's the unfortunate part about it, man. All right, where are you going this week with NFL Network?
So I will be in Cincinnati. I've got Monday Night Football, Bengals and Bills. So that will be a good battle for the top of the AFC, really, potentially. The Bills currently are the 1 seed. The Bengals are the 3 seed, and they've already beaten the Chiefs. And so whoever wins
7 in a row, right? The Bengals 7 in a row, I think.
Yeah, something like that. They, to me, are the team no one's talking about. I know they played poorly at the end against New England, but to me, if I was picking a day, I might pick the Cincinnati to come out of the AFC.
Did they beat New England?
They beat New England. Yeah,
brother, I'm tired of this shit. People got to learn,
right?
NFL.
I'm just saying because I tweeted.
It's like, what do you want a team to do, bro? They survived. They won. They've won 7 in a row. I don't care who you're playing in the NFL. The Texans put 500 yards on the Chiefs, bro.
And the Chiefs won. And so we moved on, right? I was at that game, the Chiefs-Texans game, and they moved on. And so you're right. And so I just tweeted about the Bengals being the team, like not enough people picking them to win the AFC. And a lot of people went in my mentions after, oh, well, did you see them nearly collapse against the Patriots? I'm like, yeah, I saw them, but so what? Like, that's December football. And so, yeah, I can't wait for that.
That's the NFL, baby.
Yeah.
That's the NFL. How many dominant defenses are left in the NFL? There aren't many, dude.
Right.
You know, It's like even Philadelphia's got a hell of a defense, and Dallas lit their asses up, man.
Yep.
You know, it's just going to happen that way. San Francisco, that's probably one of the few like really, really good defenses in the NFL. More often than not, dude, if your team wins, however they win, God bless them, dude. That's all that matters in the NFL. Some of these fans want this style points and all that, and get out of here, bro. Right. You won. Be happy, man. That's a hell of a game, by the way. You're back in their good graces now.
Hey, it's the game. It's the game of the week. I am going to be cold. I will tell you, I will be cold, but
it's all right.
It's all good. It's the game of the week.
Stay away from the Skyline Chili, and you'll be fine.
Always.
Is it it's in Cincinnati? You said right?
Monday Night Football. So it'll be Monday Night Football in Cincinnati, and so I'll get to spend New Year's Eve here, and then travel up there New Year's Day, and that's the game of the week to me. And so we'll have somebody else up there in New England for the Dolphins Patriots. I'll keep an eye on that on Sunday, but no, I'll do that, and then if the Dolphins have something to play for, I'll probably be back here for that Jets game in Week 18.
Pain as a Dolphins fan. That's all we feel is pain. Follow him on Twitter at Cameron Wolfe. Catch his work there at the NFL Network. Cam, as always, appreciate you, my man. Thank you, as always. Be safe in your travels. We'll catch up later in the week.
All right. Sounds good. Appreciate y'all.
We got it. There you go. The Wolf Pack has been unleashed.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.